Good day, it's Joshua from Stacks Weaver. Today we're going to go over the F62SQLite stacks from Stacks App Stacks. There's two stacks in this bundle, is the F62SQLite stack and the F62SQLite update stack. Each of these stacks help you bring data in from a Foundation 6 form and store it in an SQLite database. First, let me give you a demo. Here's a very simple form that I have set up that just collects name, a message, and an uploaded image. So in this case, I'm just going to quickly go in here and put in my name. And I'm just going to upload an image. I think it's submit the form. Now, after I submit the form, I have a redirection that will take me to a feeds page that pulls from this database. So right now we can see here that we have this entry, Joshua, hello. We can view this entry as well as edit this entry. The edit function is part of the F62SQLite update stack. This allows us to actually update the fields that are in the record for the SQLite table. We'll just change the message from hello to hello, nice to meet you today. So see here now that we have updated this entry, you can also go back to the database list, and that record has been updated. So this data is stored in an SQLite database and is being updated via the F62SQLite update stack and feeds here viewing the database. Let's just put in another entry. You can see in here, we have now added another entry into the database. We also have the ability to view this one, as well as edit the entry and update any of the details. So that is the basics of the F62SQLite stacks. Now let's have a look into this. So after you have created your form that need to collect the data that you're looking to do, you're going to drag the F62SQLite stack onto your page. In here, some very basic settings that you need to set up. You need to set where your database is going to be, the database name, and the table name. This will create the database even if it does not exist already. You can choose where you want to store your files and whether or not you want to store the files in the table. Now, I'm not going to go over the store files in the table option in this video, but that is an option that you can do. In this case, I've selected to have the URL of the file to be stored into the database. What this allows us to do is actually have the files right here stored in the same location as the database. So I've chosen to put the images into this data folder and then the URL to that file stored into the database. What this looks like on your actual server would be this. So in here is the SQLite database, and these are the two images that we uploaded with the form. And that's all the settings you need there. Now, part of setting up F62SQLite is getting this AJAX request set up. So if we actually preview the settings here, you see the step one is to add an AJAX request to your form. So we've added an AJAX request to our form, and in there you need to set the URL to f62sqlite.php. By default, your AJAX request will be a post, so all you need to do is add in the f62sqlite.php in that URL. Now, in my form, I also wanted it to redirect after it successfully added data to the database. So I added a redirect to the actual database page where we've set up the feeds that view the data. And that's it. That's all you need to do to start collecting data into an SQLite database. Now for the database page, what I have here is just the feeds hooked up to the SQLite database. I'm not really going to go over the feed setup. This is something that you can do on one of the feeds videos from Weaverspace. One of the important things to set up with feeds is the option to view the entry. And that we've done this here where we have a link that would go to the entry and to the ID. What this allows us to do is go to this entry page, which we've set up here. And this entry page allows you to view the ID as well as edit. So how do we set up the editing portion? Well, first of all, you'll see here that this is the entry page. I've set this up as entry. And on the actual site, when we go to view, you can see in the URL up here that we're on the entry ID equals 1. If we go back and view the second one, this is ID equals 2. To set up the editing with F6 to SQLite update, first we're going to create another page called edit. So on this here, you see the navigation is edit index.php, and then we drag the F6 to SQLite update stack onto the page. In this stack, we are going to also point to the exact same database. Now, on redirect on submit, we want it to go back to the entry, and we want it to pass the record ID. What this allows you to do is after you've gone into this record to edit the record, when you hit submit, it's going to pass you back to the entry and the ID that this is. So you see this is ID2. How do we get this edit button to work? So after we've created this page and we know that it's edit, all we need to do is pass off the ID, the entry ID that we're in, to the edit page. So if we were to go look at this link, we'll see here that we're going up a page and then going to the edit, and we're passing the ID equals an ID macro. And that's it. So now when you click the edit entry, you'll see that when we hover this button now, that it has the proper link to the record of ID2 that we programmed into the link. And we click that link, and now we're editing that. Now this page is really cool, as this page is being dynamically created from the database entry. There is some other settings inside of the F6 to SQLite update where you could remove specific fields from being edited. This is beneficial if you don't want specific fields being changed by the user. For instance, say we didn't want the file name to be edited. We can actually just go in here and type in file name and publish this out. So now when we go to edit this entry, file name is no longer there, which is very useful if you have fields that you don't need to be edited. And that is a quick video on how to use F6 to SQLite stacks from Stacks.